Mythbusters is a TV show where the host tests myth, legends, and movie scenes through experiments using science and engineering. They see if the myths are confirmed, plausible, or busted. Well, in today's video, I'm gonna be doing exactly that, but in Gorilla Tag in under 20 hours. Let's get started. So the first myth is going to be you can actually leave the Gorilla Tag map. And this might sound like not really possible, but you can do this actually in two ways. With the first method being the easiest, just changing the mode to Guardian, getting into a code, grabbing this little rock thing, and then go to, pretty sure it's the second highest point, then getting up here and doing a leap of faith up to here. But make sure not to jump into tutorial because it's a not collision, so it'll crash your game. But you can actually bring other people up here and just chuck them off. Anyways, on to the second method, which is doing the snowball method. I'm not really good at it because I don't really know how to do it, so you can watch a tutorial, but here's how I do it. I just I don't know if this is patched or not, but you used to be able to just drop it and then jump right before it lands. That is myth confirmed. On to the next myth. The second myth being Doug the Bug and Matt the Bat are actually the same speed as each other. Doug's right there. Okay, now that we have Doug, we just gotta go to my least favorite map. Okay, now let's test it. On 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, looks like, yes, they are actually the same speed. That is myth confirmed. On to the next myth. The next myth being you can hold Matt and Doug at the same time. I kind of already just proved it, so that is myth confirmed. That was an easy myth. On to the next myth, which is you can grab 2 ropes at the same time. So for this one, we're gonna have to go to canyons. I will not let go. So if it does let go, that wasn't me. Okay, so you can't grab 2 ropes at the same time. That is myth busted. On to the next myth. The next myth will be the higher you are, the further you go on the slide. I'm pretty sure everyone knows that, so that's a myth confirmed. Here, I'll just test it for you guys. Just a quick test. Okay, I'm gonna jump just normally, just a little slide. Okay, we landed right here. Now, I'm gonna do a bigger fall. Yup, I went further. As I said before, that is a myth confirmed. On to the next myth. The next myth will be you can actually bring snowballs and rocks, well, and water balloons to any map. So to quickly test this, I'm just gonna grab a rock and go to clouds. Alright, we got the rock. Now let's go to clouds, see if it despawns. Alright, and for the moment of truth, it did not despawn. That is myth confirmed. You can bring water balloons, snowballs, and rocks to any map. On to the next myth. For the 7th myth, the shiny rocks crate is actually hollow inside. So to quickly test this, I'm just gonna flip the camera. And yes, it is hollow. So they are lying to you. This is actually not filled with shiny rocks. That is myth confirmed. On to the next myth. For myth 8 is you can drown in Gorilla Tag. Obviously, that is not true. So on to the next myth. How did that even get on the list? What? The next myth is the hand rocks, like those handprint rocks, are actually the same size as your hand in Gorilla Tag. So let's test it. Right now, it's not there because we are in a private. Real quick, I'm going to join a public. Alright, so as you can see, the rock or the handprint is now there. For the moment of truth, that is myth busted. The rock hand prints are actually not the same size as your hand in Gorilla Tag. On to the next myth. For myth number 10 is Gorilla Tag ghosts are actually not real. So to prove this one, we are going to go into a public and ask 3 people if Gorilla Tag ghosts are real. If 3 people say yes, that is a myth confirmed. If they say no, that is a myth busted. Yo, do you guys believe in Gorilla Tag ghosts?
Yeah, so, no, we don't.
Not anymore.
Okay, you don't,
Anymore.
and you don't. So you 3 don't?
A bit.
Okay, so yes.
Depending on the ghost.
That was 2 yeses, but also like 4 no's. So that means myth busted. Gorilla Tag ghosts are not real. On to the next myth. So the next myth is canyons actually does not have slippery walls. Obviously, I think every map does have slippery walls, but let's just test this. Okay, so these walls are obviously not slippery, so let's go up there. Okay, yeah. Canyons, that is myth busted. Canyons does have slippery walls, obviously. So, on to the next myth. For myth number 12, it is you can actually put Doug underground. So, Doug is actually right here. So, let's just test it. So, moment of truth, can he go through the floor? What? Man, get the... Alright, so that is myth confirmed. You can put Doug underground, or Doug goes underground. Time for the next myth. The next myth is color code 020 is the best color code for forest. Let's test it out. So forest is kind of dark right now, so I don't think this is gonna work, but I'm just gonna test it anyways. I'm gonna hide somewhere in this tree pile, and you gotta find me. Alright, I'm hiding. Can you guys see me? Yeah, that's what I thought, bro. This is myth confirmed. Oh wait, I didn't take my cosmetics off. Anyways, this is myth confirmed. On to the next myth. The next myth is... Oh wait, I'm still green. The next myth is you can actually glide better or fall slower with 2 gliders. Alright, so we're gonna need 2 gliders. Let's test this out. Okay. Well, other than hitting my face against a tree, I did not fall slower. So that is myth busted. On to the next myth. For myth number 15, this water balloon is actually slower than the snowball. Alright, we got the snowball. Okay, for the moment of truth, I'm gonna ungrip them at the same time. 3, 2, 1. Okay, water balloons do in fact fall slower than snowballs. That is myth confirmed. On to the next myth. The next myth is snowballs and water balloons fall slower in water. We kind of tested that like literally 1 second ago. Replay that clip, see if it did fall slower, please. Peak VR, if you're editing this, put like a subtitle right here saying if it did fall slower or not, because I kind of wasn't paying attention. But anyway, on to the next myth. You can actually play gorillatag without controllers, which is, I'm gonna put my controllers right here, which is actually true in a way. It's true in a way. Busted but confirmed, so 50-50. On to the next myth. Myth 17, you can actually look through walls in gorillatag. So obviously if I put my camera through here, yes, I can look through walls. But if I try and actually do it, no, it pushes you back. So that is also another 50-50. So that is myth busted, but also confirmed. So on to the next myth. Myth 19. Caves actually makes a weird ambiance noise if you stay in it for too long. So, okay, now I'm gonna stay right here and wait and be very silent. So turn the sound up. Okay, yeah. Caves, whoa, what the lag? Caves does make weird ambiance noises. Dripping, I'm pretty sure it's just like that. So that is myth confirmed. On to the final and last myth, which is there's a weird sign or message behind one of the signs in city. Let's go test this out or check this out. Alright, for the moment of truth. Yo, wait, what? There used to be a message. That's kind of, wait, what about this sign? And no, it's just straight rust. Okay, that is actually myth busted, surprisingly, because I thought it was actually a message there. But anyways, that is it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to leave a like. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!